All right, so here we are, Sydney. Now this is 1885. Sydney, this one I just found interesting, apart from the fact we've got dirt roads here, and see these humps of like dirt that someone's swept up? It doesn't look like horse poo, I don't know. But check out what these ladies are wearing. Like full Edwardian, is that what we call it? Sort of fashion. And this is in Australia. Again, in Sydney, even in winter, it's not that cold really. It's a bit chilly, but interesting fashion for, a brand new colony that's still using dirt roads. Now this one is this is just a random one. Someone sent me this picture. This is supposed to be an Australia pyramid with the doorway going into it. And I don't know, it could be the Gympie pyramid, could be not real, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it too much, but it does look like a real photo. So is that the Gympie pyramid? And of course they knocked the Gympie pyramid over last year to build a road. And I'm not kidding. That's what they do. This is the Australian Museum in Sydney in 1872. So this is 94 years after Captain Cook turned up to a desolate country as far as the narrative goes. And I've called this megalithic Sydney, this stream, because look at the size of this building. These are obviously people, horse and carts here. And I mean, only just over halfway up this solid bit of the wall, which then is, look at, that's a very big wall and very big building. Look at the size of these floors, right? They're massive. So, Sydney, in my opinion, was found and just inhabited, cleaned up and inhabited. New people moved in. This is the Belgravia Hotel. And this, it says, and I'm going to look into this, but it says part of the Hydro Majestic Hotel complex. That's interesting, isn't it? Hydro, water systems. So I'm going to check out and do some more research on that. But this is a cool old building, got the Antiquitech going. But see how it looks like, they put it looks like it's wooden, kind of, doesn't it, from the front? But clearly this is all masonry. And of course we have the wood out the front, which is clearly been put in at a later date. Just a street scene, the Rocks, 1900. Okay, we've got these lamps everywhere already, old world buildings, and, an orphan, maybe, a new inhabitant, pushing a baby down the street on this little cool handmade pram. But just look at the infrastructure that's in here. Again, dirt roads and not really many people. There's two women up here. But looking a lot like a found city. This is Mrs. Macquarie's chair. This photo is from 1880. Again, check out the dress that they're wearing, the clothes, the fashion, very close to fascies, isn't it? And the story with this is that General Macquarie got this commissioned, and convicts, of course, made this, right? So named by the governor on account her originally planned, blah blah blah. We finally completed on the 13th day of June, 1816. Now look at the blocks. Look at these are old massive blocks, very big for convicts to be, shoveling around, pushing around. These ones here are even bigger, and these stairs cut into the rocks here. It's pretty good work, and of course they've chiseled all this in. Convicts. Carter's barracks, of course, everywhere. And I was thinking there's barrack streets all over Australia. Are there barrack streets where you are? Because that's because there used to be a barracks, right? A fort, what we're calling forts on it. And this one you'll see they love to put these verandas on the front to change the look of the building, but clearly all masonry underneath. Again, look at the size of this building, megalithic. This one, this is Chief Secretary's building. Bridge Street, Sydney, 1880s. And it's a pretty small photo, but you can see there's people down here. And this is the, the height of the first story, right? Like literally 4 or 5 times the height of these people, right? Massive masonry construction, still got dirt roads. And look at this fence. This is just wood with, bits holding it up. And look at these little dumpy, this is what they could make, these little dumpy wooden hovel houses, which again are a lot smaller, right, in scale to this building. Some more orphans just hanging out in the dirt streets, but we have rock gutters. Like, okay, nice column there. But as you can see, this is a build out. This is 1885-ish, and the whole street's built out. Like wall to wall built out. This is a shot Circular Quay around 1900, and look at these buildings right on the shore. They're huge, and you can see 1900. This whole city it's just so built out, right? And again, this is only 112 years since Captain Cook apparently turned up to a barren country. What's that? Is that a ship? Yeah, it is. That's huge. Look at that ship there. Big steamship. So 1900, this again, tiny picture. But you can see, look at all these buildings right on the shoreline. And they are huge. And I mean, it looks like it could be any, city in Europe, apart from the fact that it's got the big Bushels tea advertisement. I mean, that again, megalithic sized buildings. You can see this lady here doesn't come up to the top of the fence. And we've got this building here. And I build out all up the street. This one's got a few people in it, but we get these electricity posts, shall we call them, but no wires going to this next one. And I see this a lot, this stuff around when I don't know, I guess it's just a bit of the photographic process. This is so this one's just people, a crowd at Stanthorpe Agricultural Show, 1905. Just got their horse and carts. And what I find interesting is this stand. See how we got this like cut-off pyramid here for the stairs, and then we got 2 pyramids on the roof. What's going on? And maybe even a third one. So I don't know. Interesting. But in the background, all they can build are these hovel type constructions. This is a water fountain in the street, Sydney, and look at this. Look at the work going into that. Brand new country. This one is 1924, so it's a bit later. But these things would have used to have been everywhere. And what's going on here? Is this some way of charging the water? Who knows? Using frequency maybe. Bit of 432. Fire station. So these are firemen. These are the guys who went around and set fire to everything, I think. Oh, who knows, right? Who knows? They always turn up where there's fire. That's all I'm saying. Again, street lights all in the ground everywhere. This is late 1800s. And very nice old world brick building here. Streets of Sydney. Don't have a date on this one. Got a horse and cart. And again, look at the size of the buildings, the fashion, and the lack of people. The thing is, none of the markings in the facades, none of them have anything to do with Australia. Here's another one, again, massive build out, and again, these power poles, wireless power poles, because there's no wires. You can see down the street here, we've got a couple, but can't see any wires going between them. And we do get photos later from different cities where it looks like they've connected them up and there's just wires everywhere. Here we have a belfry, or is that an airship landing dock? Who knows? And again with the street lights, man. These streetlights are everywhere, and they're oversized, and they don't really make sense. Giving that we're told they would have been gas, and then when they went electric, we're told that the lumens, the capacity of the light bulbs wasn't much. But then then we see the World's Fairs, right? 1871. This is George Street between Park and Bathurst Street, Sydney. 1871. So this is this is less than 100 years since Captain Cook came. Dirt roads, but I mean, just build out, like literally wall to wall build out all the way along from an airship. Here we go, airship. Government House. So this castle, which it is a castle, that's Government House. This is, so down here is Fort Macquarie, and this is after that turned into a tram depot. And so that was a star fort, like a citadel. And again, we get these. These have all been bulldozed, but look at these old world buildings again, right on the shore pretty much. And we see this, all through Europe, especially like Denmark and countries like that. The same buildings pretty much, and lined up along the water like this. And of course, this could have been a palace, what we would call a palace these days, and all the grounds, because there's lots of shapes and geometry in the ground around here. Check out this. This is just a department store, Grace Brothers. Look at this. What is that? Group of people, 1885. Again with the fashion. This dude has a very cool beard. But even this little girl's got a parasol. This lady's got one to keep the sun off. But look at the clothes they've got on, like 20 layers. And are these guys tall? I don't know. They look sort of a lot bigger than this guy, and this guy, don't they? Not hugely, but bigger. 1866, dirt roads, and just, old world buildings built out wall to wall the whole way down the street. You see this one's got the Greco-Roman look on it, the pillars and everything. This thing here is just huge. And this is 1866. Now, okay, so they shipped in nitroglycerin is what they're saying. And they stored it here in this building. You can see this has all been blown up, and it blew up. So nitroglycerin. Okay. This is Mark Foy Building, 1909. And again, we have, now look, is there a wire there? I don't know, maybe one, but they've got these poles and they're not all wired up. Is that free electricity? We've got tram tracks in the ground. And again, this fashion, man. And where did it all come from? Because you can see they're all wearing the same clothes. They're all very, very similar. So, where are all the fashion houses back in the 1800s? Again, oversized street lamp. Doesn't make sense. This is 1893. And just completely built out, horse and cart, dirt roads. These bollard things we see everywhere too, don't we? I wonder what they were used for. This is the gates to Centennial Park. People. That looks like it's probably a war memorial now. It's very interesting. And I mean, look at the size. Look at this person. These bollards are almost as tall as this guy, but look at this compared to him. And you can see the build out in the background too. I don't have a date on this one. Okay, now this is what they tell us was going on. Okay, so this is that they're saying 1872, and this is the story, right? The new country, we were living in bark huts, wooden hovels, humpies, but that's not what we see. This is what we see. This is during a flood, 1892, old world building. Obviously, luckily on the high ground, or at least the top of it is. Something here is underwater. I don't know what that is. But this is what we see, right? These buildings, again, oversized, megalithic. This is entrance to the Colonial Secretary and Public Works Office, 1880s. Got their little guards. Oh, we've got Abraham Lincoln here. Massive, awesome, ornate gates. Got the pillars, but nothing to do with Australia. And megalithic, in my opinion, it's huge. This is an old one. 1859 is the date on this. So, this is very pretty, Australia's still pretty new, again, with the fashion. And this is not a wood house. This is a big masonry house. Now, I mean, is it possible it was cobble something? Sure. It looks like it's brick if you look in here. But do you think these people built it? Like, there's one guy here. Street scene, Sydney, 1885. More of the same. Got the fashion, got the huge building, you've got the dirt roads. And this, again, you see it a lot like, looks like, masonry paved, some kind of masonry, footpaths, sidewalks, but not the road. That doesn't make sense. Some goats, 1885, and just masonry buildings everywhere. Trams, Mosman and Spit Junction. Dirt roads. Like, this is dirt. And we've got these trams, or trolleys if you're from the USA, running through the dirt, right? Now we've got some lines hooked up, some electrical lines, and you can see these trams are running off those, it's like dodgem cars do, basically. And they've found their advertising already, right? The Herald, that's a newspaper. Got to get out the programming. This is just Sydney Shore, 1880s. That's what it says. Who really knows? Kind of looks like it. Big ship. But I just found this bit interesting, that these, girls here, look what they're sitting on. Man-made rock shoreline. These are man-made blocks. So this whole bit is probably man-made. And this, that's such a classic, uniform, isn't it, for the young kids? And you see it everywhere. They all wear the same clothes. Where did these clothes come from? This one, I couldn't find a name on it. It's Archives New South Wales. I'm not sure what the building is, but I mean, all the features, right? Mud flooded. And again, megalithic. You can see a guy standing here in front of this massive door. And look at the size of the first level. Again, 3 or 4 times his height. Unless, of course, he's standing up the side here where it's about 1. Look at this place with all the columns. Again, not the biggest picture, but you can see this is all columns, colonnaded, is that what they say? And horse and cart and dirt roads, and the fashion and the umbrellas, the parasols, sun umbrellas. Oh, this is another small one, but this is Sydney, 1890. Look at this. Is this, what's it called? Is it the Queen Victoria building? I think it is. That's still there. But again, we get these electricity poles with no wires. There's one here and one here. And huge constructions everywhere. Most of this is gone now. All these like terrace houses here, these old world buildings, they all got knocked down. Mostly demolished, Bennelong Point. So I think this is mainly just like a park now. I'm not a Sydney sider, so I'm not sure on all of these facts. Again, megalithic, General Post Office. Look at the size of these people compared to the size of this door. And on the front here, it looks like we've got some electricity. Don't have a date on this one. They all know they're in a photo, right? Photo opportunity. And here's another one of these poles. This one does have wires. So what's going on there? This is just a random picture. It says Port Jackson, 1880s. Just looks a bit devastated, you know. That's a tree by the looks of it, but I mean, you know, it looks like something's happened here. This is a water slide in Sydney at Ashburner Street and South Stane, Northern Beaches. Is that right? That's pretty interesting. And, oh, that's the end.